Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Today marks the 35th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square Massacre. Although the CCP has, as usual, tightly blocked the relevant news within China, the scale and the momentum of the commemoration overseas, both on the internet and in the real world, are greater than those in previous years. The only one smaller than previous years was Hong Kong. The famous candlelight vigil at Victoria Park in Hong Kong is no more. This is the candlelight vigil in 2009 on the 20th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square Massacre. And this is the situation this year. The police are guarding the gates of Victoria Park to strictly prevent anyone from entering. Today, I'd like to talk about two topics. One is about the role of Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan in the Tiananmen Square Massacre, which very few people have ever focused on before. And another topic is the staggering death toll in the Tiananmen Square Massacre that has been revealed from within the CCP's People's Liberation Army. It is at least twice as big as what's known to the outside world. There's also very detailed and specific information about how many people died, exactly where. These numbers haven't gotten much attention or revealed to the English-speaking world. So I want to reveal them. Before we get to our topics today, I want to remind you to check your subscription status on my YouTube channel. If you take a look at this screenshot, you can see that in the last 28 days, I have lost 136 subscriptions. From 4 years ago to now, since I've been covering that January rally in Washington, D.C., my viewership has dropped as much as 90%, and the subscriptions have been dropping at about the same rate you see here. So not only has my channel not grown at all, it's been shrinking. So I'd like to ask everyone to subscribe to the membership service on my website and jenniferzengblog.com in order to support me in keeping the channel going. Right now, I don't have much time to produce special content for members, but at least you can read all my scripts there to save your time if you don't want to watch the videos. I also always put the links to my sources there for members to do further research if they need to. The other thing is that, as you can see from this screenshot, my last show was deleted by YouTube. So I encourage everyone to follow me on Ganjing World and X. From now on, I'll be live streaming on Ganjing World, X, and YouTube at the same time. I streamed my last episode on YouTube too, but shortly after the broadcast, that video got removed by YouTube. But it is still available on Ganjing World and X, so I encourage you to follow me on those platforms that allow freedom of speech. Okay, now go to our first topic, Xi Jinping and his wife Peng Liyuan's role in the Tiananmen Square Massacre. When Xi Jinping first came to power, the outside world wasn't sure about his role in the crackdown on the Tiananmen movement. And there were even a lot of people who were counting on him to vindicate the movement. In 2020, an article published in the CCP's party magazine Study Times made a rare disclosure of Xi's actions in the movement. The article said that Xi, in his capacity as secretary of the Ningde local committee in Fujian province, ordered that students from Wenzhou be stopped from traveling to Fujian, and that he asked public security to conduct an in-depth investigation afterward in what was described as a proper handling of the student movement. She served as the party secretary of Ningde Committee starting in 1988. These are photos released by the Communist Party's official media of him working in Ningde at the time. Chen Youcheng, then head of the Ningde Regional Public Security Office, recalled that during the spring and the summer of 1989, when the student movement broke out in various parts of China, including Ningde, a group of Wenzhou students planned to go to Fujian province to promote the movement. They had prepared big trucks that had very large, eye-catching, and sensitive slogans on it. So he reported the issue to the regional party committee. Xi Jinping gave instructions that everyone had to follow the CCP Central Committee closely and that the students should be firmly prevented from entering Fujian, and the slogans on the trucks should not be allowed to enter Ningde or Fujian either. Chen accordingly set up a checkpoint at the border between Fuding County and the province to persuade students to return to school while clearing up the slogans on the trucks. In the meantime, he said she had issued a number of instructions to public security authorities to keep a close eye on developments in the region to ensure social stability. He described the situation as Comrade Xi Jinping's proper handling of the student unrest. After the incident, Xi met with the leadership of the local party committee and administration on July 30th and gave a speech. He instructed public security officers to thoroughly investigate those involved in the movement and to deal with them. According to public information, the year after the Tiananmen Massacre, Xi Jinping was transferred to Fuzhou, the capital of Fujian province, as secretary of the Municipal Party Committee. This indicates that he was promoted due to his good service to the CCP during the crackdown. Now, let's take a look at Peng Liyuan's role. Peng Liyuan's connection to the Tiananmen crackdown has been deliberately covered up by the CCP. In March 2013, after Xi Jinping came to power, this photo of Peng Liyuan singing for martial law troops in Tiananmen Square in 1989 appeared for a time on China's social media platform Weibo, but the photo was quickly deleted. Above the photo, a line of Chinese characters can be seen that reads, quote, "Young singer Peng Liyuan sings for martial law troops in Tiananmen Square," unquote. The photo was uploaded to Weibo by Sun Li, a eminent military journalist. According to the Associated Press, Sun Li said the picture was actually the back cover of a 1989 PLA pictorial. He took a photo of it with his cell phone and uploaded it to Weibo in 2013 and then quickly deleted it. Xi Jinping and Peng Liyuan were married in 1987. So in 1989, they had just been married for 2 years. Peng was a member of the PLA's General Administration Song and Dance Troupe at the time and a member of the CCP. So it's no surprise that she followed the party's orders to sing for martial law troops in Tiananmen Square. Another member of the CCP Politburo Standing Committee associated with the crackdown was Wang Hunin, who in 1989 was the head and professor of international politics at Fudan University in Shanghai. In April 1989, the student movement took off in Shanghai, and there were hunger strikes, speeches, and marches at Fudan University. Young faculty members participated in the protests, sought senior professors to co-sign a petition. Later, they sought Wang Hunin's signature, but Wang refused. Instead, Wang signed a document opposing the protest. The performance of several other members of the Standing Committee in the 1989 Tiananmen crackdown is less clear now. However, their career paths were smooth during this period, and they were even promoted after 1989. So it is reasonable to conclude that they must have chosen to side with the CCP during or after the movement. Let's move on our second topic today. How many people died in the Tiananmen Square massacre? There has been no clear figure on this issue, and people have been talking about numbers ranging from a few hundred to a few thousand or even tens of thousands. But in 2005, the Chinese language edition of the Epoch Times received data from within the CCP, saying that the total number of deaths during the period of June 1st to the 10th, 1989 was as high as 31,978 people. Of those, 10,974 were identified as students, 7,992 were identified of other personnel, and 11,865 were unidentified personnel who could not be identified. There were also 113 PLA soldiers who were killed in attacks. 197 were wrongly killed by themselves, and 837 died in hospital due to severe injuries. The provider of this data was a senior officer of the PLA General Staff, who was himself killed in Beijing on November 21st, 2004. And that is why his friend or people who were given these numbers dared to leak this information. In particular, it explains why the casualties witnessed by many people who were at the scene differed significantly from these figures. It was because after the massacre, the army was ordered to allow only a small number of bodies to be placed outside or to be claimed by families, so that there was no evidence of death. Most of the bodies were cremated, so there's no proof of death. Moreover, during the massacre on that night, the entire crowd was divided and then executed in groups, and many of the injured were also killed, which is why the initial known death toll was very low. Many of those who left the scene only saw a small number of deaths and a large number of injuries. But in fact, after the army had completely surrounded Tiananmen Square, all of the people on the scene were executed, and the actual number of deaths was much higher than what the general public saw or knew. Moreover, immediately after the massacre, the military carried out large-scale cleaning and restoration work to remove blood stains and bullet marks from the scene, which led to a serious underestimation by the outside world. The information said that in June 1989, after the order for forceful suppression had been given, internal command problems led to the accidental killing of nearly 100 plainclothes officers who were mixed in with the crowd of demonstrators during the suppression on the east and the south sides of the monument to the people's hero. At that time, many demonstrators had already left from the vicinity of the monument to the people's heroes in Tiananmen Square and retreated in the direction of east and west Chang'an Street. However, in order to prevent similar incidents from reoccurring and to eliminate the problem from the root, the CCP carried out a brutal massacre of nearly 40,000 people who were still at the scene, and the dead bodies of those killed were piled up into small mountains. The information says that many people within the CCP military have preserved written materials and videos and pictures of the June 4th crackdown. There were also crackdowns in areas that are far away from Tiananmen Square. Only people at the square didn't know. Perhaps only after the collapse of the CCP will the truth of this massacre be revealed to the world. The information also states that after many people were killed, their bodies were piled up in a centralized manner and their numbers were counted by PLA units as a demonstration of military performance, and that many people's identities couldn't be confirmed as they came from other cities or their bodies were severely damaged. The situation and the personnel killed and arrested after June 10, 1989 is still not known. This piece of information has the highest death toll I have seen so far. Of course, I do not have any channel to conduct verification at the moment, but I believe these numbers are probably true, and I'm revealing them here. The following are the detailed death figures given in this information. I translated and listed them here as a record of history and to see if one day we can verify them. But as there are too many, I'm not going to read them out one by one. Please read the text on your own or make some screenshots for your record. In the meantime, I will play the most complete footage of the Taliban and the audio of the courageous broadcast of Radio Beijing about the massacre and some other original sound and footage of the event.
This is Radio Beijing. Please remember June the 3rd, 1989. The most tragic event happened in the Chinese capital, Beijing. Thousands of people, most of them innocent civilians, were killed by fully armed soldiers when they forced their way into the city. Among the killed are our colleagues at Radio Beijing. The soldiers were riding on armored vehicles and used machine guns against thousands of local residents and students who tried to block their way. When the army convoys made a breakthrough, soldiers continued to spray their bullets indiscriminately at crowds in the street. Eyewitnesses say some armored vehicles even crushed foot soldiers who hesitated in front of the resisting civilians. Radio Beijing English Department deeply mourns those died in a tragic incident and appeals to all.
Hey kids, we're here.
Oh my goodness. Hey grown-ups.
All its listeners to join our protest for the gross violation of human rights and the most barbarous suppression of the people. Because of the abnormal situation here in Beijing, there is no other news we could bring you. We sincerely ask for your understanding and thank you for joining us at this most tragic moment.
Well, I guess that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.